Hey everyone. So I've always wanted to have a wood chipper to shred up, chip up branches and limbs that fall into my yard from all of these wonderful trees that I have. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you how I'm using something I bought brand new from Amazon, the Sun Joe electric shredder chipper model CJ601E. So I'm going to show you how I use it, and I'm going to let you know if I think it's a good product that might work for you.
I ordered the product on Friday and it came on Tuesday.
Well,
Good job, Amazon. It came in a medium-sized box that was light and easy to move around, so even my wife could move it without any problems. Everything in the package looked good, no damage, organized well. It comes with good instructions and it comes with the tools that you need, although it didn't have a Phillips head screwdriver. That's okay, I had one, so I was able to use that. The instructions are easy to understand and follow, no problems there. I used my own tools instead of the wrench that they provided because my tools are better and I'm more comfortable with them. I was able to put the product together in 20 minutes. Not a big deal, didn't take long at all, and I was ready to get to work, so I was glad it went together quickly. The chipper comes with a paddle that's used to press limbs down through the opening of the shredder, and it has a ring to hold the paddle. But I'm really not, that was my one complaint. It just didn't work well. The paddle works great, but the mounting thing doesn't work well at all. This is a view of the inside with the blades. You can change those blades out, and I have heard that they sometimes will break and it's hard to find replacement parts, but I didn't have that problem. Also has a circuit breaker in case it overloads and a safety switch. This is the mammoth pile of limbs that I need to shred. Let's get into it and see how this thing works. Is it going to be able to shred up all these limbs? Let's see. All in all, the Sun Joe Shredder Tripper did a good job. It handled all the limbs that I put in it up to 1.5 inches, and I was very pleased with it. This chipper has a small opening to put branches in, so it runs into trouble if you have really fluffy branches with lots of side shoots running off of it. So sometimes you need to, it's a better idea to kind of trim those branches down so that there's not so many little shoots coming off of the branches. As you can see here, sometimes that can be a struggle trying to squish everything through it that way. And it can cause it to jam if you do that. You'll notice the pile of chips that is backing up on the tarp. That actually, because I wasn't paying attention, it actually caused the unit to jam, and had to shut it off and just reach down there and clear that out.
That thing right there doesn't really stay on. That would be my main complaint so far, is that it's I mean, I guess I could put a screw through there just kind of make it stay on, but whenever you pull the paddle off, it just sort of pops off with it. Let's take a look at the blades and see how they held up after 3 hours of wear and tear. We'll go into this easy access compartment, open it up, and let's see what we've got. Lots of chips, definitely residue from the limbs, and the blades look pretty good. I don't really see any problems there. No chipping. It still seems sharp. And I couldn't really tell a difference after 3 hours. It was working just as good after 3 hours as it was when I first started. The unit comes with this paddle, which is used to, when you have limbs that you need to kind of press down in there, you use this paddle. So they give you this little clip-on mounting feature here that's supposed to hold the paddle just like that. You just sort of pop it in there. And I guess it holds it like that. But the problem I found is that when you grab it, it just pulls the clip off. So what's the verdict here? I spent about 3 hours clearing that pile of limbs, massive pile of limbs. Had been accumulating for a couple of years, and I just couldn't seem to stay ahead of it or keep up with it. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why I bought this shredder. The unit really performed nicely. I was pleasantly surprised. It was better than I expected. So let me share some things that I like about the Sun Joe, and then some things that I think could be better. What I like, first of all, it's cheap. You can't beat that. For $100, just a little bit over $100 on Amazon, that was just the right price for me. That's what I was thinking I would spend maybe to rent a big shredder for a weekend to get the project done, but it was going to cost way more than that to rent a unit. And so to be able to buy this one for $100 was just what I was expecting. And I used it for several hours, and it was fine. I thought, you know, when I saw that unit for $100 on Amazon, I thought, yeah, that thing's not going to last. That thing's going to break like that. But it didn't. It handled everything that I gave it up to 1.5 inches, and it just kept right on going, and I think it will continue to work for me. I also really like that this unit is small. It's really small, and it's really light, much smaller and lighter than the big gas-powered models that seem to be more powerful, but they also take up more space, and they're louder, and they use gas. And so, you know, I don't know how much gas one of those units would have run through, but this one was just fine working off of electricity, and it's small and it's light. It's small enough that my smoking hot wife could easily handle it, move it around, no problem. I can pick it up with ease. If I wanted to put it in my Camry and take it down to the church for a church cleanup day, no problem. Could easily do that. And also it's going to take up a lot less space in the garage. You could even put that thing in a closet. It's about the size of a vacuum cleaner, just to give you perspective. And it weighs about the same as a vacuum cleaner as well. Also, I like that it's easy to operate. Everything's simple and straightforward. No problems there. It's intuitive how it's supposed to work. All kind of makes sense. It has a circuit breaker right there on the panel, so if you did get something hung up in there and it kind of bogged down the motor, instead of stripping a switch in your house or burning up the motor, it just trips the circuit breaker, which is a button right there on the console. That's easy. And I only had that happen one time during this whole project. So, and then when it happened, I thought, oh gosh, is it going to be hard to get it started? Nope, piece of cake. I just cleared the jam, hit the button, and power came back, and we were ready to go. And assembly was easy too. It took me 20 minutes to put this thing together. That's 20 minutes considering I was also filming, and at one point my wife asked me to help her with something, so I stopped for a minute to help her. So altogether 20 minutes or less to put that together. If I was to do it again now, having done it once, I could probably do it in 5 or 10 minutes. Oh yeah, did I mention it was only $100? So that was a big selling point for me. There's not a lot that I would change on this Sun Joe chipper shredder, but there are some things that could be better. One thing is that paddle clip that's on the frame that's meant to hold the paddle when you're not using it. It's useless. I mean, as soon as you pull off the paddle, the clip comes off with the paddle. And then trying to sit there and fidget with it when you've got gloves on your hands and you're really focusing on the limbs, you're not wanting to fool with that paddle. It's not even necessary. The paddle is tethered to the handle with a little cable, and so you can just let it hang. And then when you need it, you just grab it. It's right there, and then let it hang and grab it. Most of the time you don't need it anyway. So the clip is a bad design, and it's not really necessary. And it's not really a big deal. I probably would just take mine off and chunk it because I don't need it. When you put it in storage, you just stick the paddle in the little limb slot, just like it is here in this picture. And then it's all there together. So piece of cake. Lastly, one thing I wish that this unit had is an automatic on-off switch. Because, you know, kind of like in the office where I work, we have a paper shredder, and it just is on, and then when you feed the paper in it, it automatically turns on and starts shredding the paper. Because while I was working on this project, there were several times when I had to run over here and do something, or go get a glass of water, or you know, I had to go through the pile of limbs and sort out things that I was going to shred, things that I was going to burn. I had to start the fire. There are times when you're not constantly feeding the shredder for 3 hours straight. There's times when you stop to do this, or you might be 60 seconds or 30 seconds when the unit is just running and you're not using it. And so the only options I had was to just let it run for 60 seconds while or 5 minutes while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, or kind of tediously have to flip the switch off and on every time. Of course, it's much better than I would imagine a gas unit would be, because you don't have to pull start it. It's just a switch. But when you're wearing gloves, anything you do with your hands is always kind of tedious. And you don't know. That's the thing too. When I'm shredding a limb and I get done with this limb and I'm gonna run back over to the pile, I don't know. Am I gonna be 10 seconds before I'm back, or is it gonna be 2 minutes before I come back? So I don't know if I need to turn it off or not. It would be really cool if it just had a switch, like it had an off switch and an on switch, and then an automatic on-off switch. And you could just flip it to that spot, and then it's off. And then when you start pushing that limb through, then it automatically comes on and pulls the limb through. That'd be awesome. Other than that, I was really well pleased with the Sun Joe electric chipper shredder. I used it for 3 hours. It did a great job, held up just fine. The unit didn't slow down at all. It's shredding and chipping just as well after 3 hours as it was when I first started. And so I'm really well pleased. Now, this isn't a unit that I would recommend if you are a commercial tree cutting service. You know, you're going to need something big and something heavy duty for that kind of job. Also, it's probably not the kind of unit I would recommend if you're going to go in and clear like numerous trees off of your property and you're thinking, well, I'm going to use this to shred up the limbs. It's not for that. This is light duty use. But if you are a homeowner and a gardener and you want to, you know that every year you're going to be trimming limbs off of your shrubs and small trees, and maybe you have occasional limbs that fall out of your trees into your yard, and you want a unit that you can use to kind of clean that stuff up and keep it in nice and tidy and in order, then this is the unit for you. I am well pleased that I bought it. It's going to be a great addition to my tool shed, and I think it's going to hold up just fine. And you really, for $100, you really can't go wrong with it. I mean, if it lasted 2 years, I would have gotten my money's worth out of it, and then I could buy another one, and I still would have paid less than I would pay for one of those cheap $500 units from, say, like Harbor Freight or something, or Lowe's or something like that. So, for the price that I bought, I could buy 5 of these for the price that I could buy one gas-powered unit. So when you think about it like that, you think, wow, what do I really need? Do I really need one of those big honking gas-powered beasts, or will this fit the job for me? This definitely fits the job for me. So that's my thoughts today about this tool that I've purchased. I hope that that's a helpful advice for you if you're thinking about buying one. And now, let's get out there and let's grow and be fruitful. God bless you.